Well, after my autocross, I realized I had some sloppy shifting, and feel like my shifter is just a little loose. So I'm gonna go and check all the bushings from the shift all the way back to the transmission. So there's underneath of here, there's a ball that sits in a little bushing cup, and then there's a round bushing that goes around the shaft that goes back to the back. And then back in the back, there is on underneath of the fire extinguisher. And, well, everybody doesn't have a fire extinguisher. I do. But underneath of the grate back here is another coupling that has 2 bushings in it. So I'm going to check all of them, find out how good they are. I have replaced these bushings before. I've actually replaced all of them before, but you know, over time they wear. Yeah, I can see, I can move it all around and this thing is barely moving. So it's the front bushings. Okay, so underneath of these 2 screws right here is a round. I've actually got a short shifter in here. You can see there's a little riser there. So I am just going to pull this thing up and then check out the bushing there, and then there's another bushing underneath of the shifter itself. It's got a ball on the end of it and then a little ball bushing. Okay, so there you can see the ball, and the ball bushing looks like it's not in great shape. And then that bushing is gone, broken in half. Look at that. You can see the bushing, half of it right there. This is what I figured the clattering was the shaft just banging up and down on that. How much play that gives. So this bolt right here allows this thing to come off, the cup holder to come off. So that comes off next. All right, well, that's the heater right there. But so this bolt appears to be a 9mm head, I think. Well, it's actually a square. It's a square head, and it has that tapered thing there. So then this can slide off. Always sounds so easy. Yeah, it'll just slide right off. No problem. Okay, got it. All right, now take that half of the bushing off. Take this thing out, and we're going to put a new bushing in there. And I can hopefully find the other half of that bushing. There you can see where the heater pulls on two cables that open up the flaps in the back. This 66, so it has a fairly simple mechanism for the heater. Okay, so one more thing to do here. In order to get all this stuff out of the way, this thing just screws off. Drop that out of the way, and then there's a opening there that allows me to pull the shifter off to the side. Now I've got a little more access to get into the channel. Here's a replacement bushing. I happen to have a bag of these, two of them laying around. I've restored a few cars over the years, and so sometimes I'll just buy 2 or 3 of a part that I know I'm going to need over the years. So I had 2. Okay, so there it is out, and it's got to go through here. It is not an easy thing to do. These things are fairly stiff. They don't bend really easily. So you start by squeezing it and pushing part of it through. I might need to use some gloves. Might need to put some grease on it too. So the other bushing is inside of this. You can see it's broken up, disintegrated in there. So that comes out, and that will go in the trash. I had taken one out of a car. This is what I've got available at the moment. It seems to be in good shape. Obviously, it looks like it's used a little bit, but should be fine. Slides down in there. Could slide easier, but we will work with that. And that will go onto the ball of the shifter and then down into there, like so. Alright, so I've put a little bit of grease on this thing, and now I'm going to pop it onto the end here of the shifter. Okay, and then this can slide down into there. Next piece, this needs to go over this shaft here, but I want to make sure this thing is clean, and then I'm going to put a little bit of fresh grease on there. Okay, so it looks like this actually sits on top of the channel. And then this is going to slide in on here, onto the end of the shaft. And this bolt needs to go in. Get it partially threaded in there, and then I can tighten it. Missing this thing. Okay, now it is threaded in there. Okay, that's tight. Now this heater element goes held in place by that hole, or by that bolt that goes through that hole. This then is going to go top like this. And there'll be some work to get all this lined up properly. Alright, so now the heater shaft is there, and now we have to line up the bushing into that. Feels like I made it. Ugh. All right, patience is key. I've got all my bolts back into place. There's a hole in the base for this thing, and then it has a little detent, or bump out that fits into the hole on the shifter. So that had to line up properly, and now we're going for the holders for the little whole bushing holder that we just replaced. So I can feel that starting to go in. Okay, so now there's all this movement, but that's movement in the mechanism because it's not bolted down. So let's bolt it down. Much tighter. Okay, love it. All right. Yeah. Okay. And there we go. That's how you fix the shifter on your 911. I think this works pretty much from 65 to 89. I don't know that they're any different for all those years. Here's the shift coupling that goes at the back of the tunnel. The transmission shaft sticks out into the tunnel like this, and this comes over here. There is a tapered bolt, just like the one in the front, that holds the bottom of the shifter. So this tapered bolt runs down into the shaft to hold it properly in place. And then the front has a splined shaft on it that then there's a clamp onto the long shaft that goes up to the gear shift, and that is how you adjust the position of the gear shifter, where the shifter would be up in front, and when you do this, it moves this twisting like that when you push the shifter to the side. So this needs to have bushings in it at the moment. This one has none. This is what it looks like when it has the shift bushings in it. They have a little bit of forward-backward play, but no side-to-side play. So I'm going to show you how to press this pin out of here and replace those bushings. So to press this pin out, you're going to need a couple of special Porsche tools. These are fairly inexpensive, and I'll give you the part numbers. It's a 901 COP 13mm. It's this. You get it at your hardware store. It's a 1/2-inch coupling for copper pipes. You put that on there to hold it into place, and then you put this into a vise. And you start pressing it out. It takes some effort, and it moves slowly, but it comes out. Yep, and see, now we've gotten to the point where the side, or the housing of the shifter coupling is in the way, so now what we have to do is get something to push the pin with, and that you can just use a bolt. This is about 12 millimeters in diameter, so you need something either slightly smaller than 12 or 12 would probably work fine. So what we're going to do, line that up. The good thing about a bolt is it tends to line itself up perpendicular to the you can see it moving perpendicular to the vice jaws. Okay, now it's starting to go easy. It's a little bit narrower at the ends than it is in the middle, and that's how it works. Let's see if I run out of room. Yes, I have. All right, so then I believe we can just put this in here and tap it out. And it's out. Nothing to it. That slides off. And there you go. So now we have the 3 pieces. And hey, once again, while you've got it apart, you might as well clean it up. And then we're going to take our pack of bushings, and they will go inside here. I'll show that in just a minute. Okay, and once again, these are a fairly hard bushing. That's a hard piece of plastic. So, of course, it is keyed, so it only goes in one way. And if it's not going in easy, hey, you can just use the thing itself to push it in. Okay, that one's in there. Now we go in with this one. All right, now we got the bushings part way in, and we can just push it in with a pair of channel locks. Gently, so we don't tear it up too much. And you're squeezing against the metal housing. Now we check to see that this slides in easily, and it does. Now you can take the pin. Gotta clean that up a little bit. And press it back in. And it gets a little tighter as it starts to get into the center. tight coupler. I could probably go in a little further with that, which I will do, but it's pretty much good to go. All right, when you're done replacing all the bushings, you'll put this thing back in here, put the tapered screw down into the shaft that goes back to the transmission, and then it gets the spline gets clamped onto the shaft with this screw, and you adjust the side-to-side position so that second gear is right up against the spring-loaded mechanism on pushing to the left. So this is a pretty easy DIY project that'll get you back to shifting with confidence so you can get out there and drive your car and have fun with it. Thanks for watching.